Hi everyone, my name is Corinne. Welcome to my channel. This is Corycreates. This is my creative channel where I share my projects in cross stitch, a little bit of bag and garment sewing, and definitely some quilting. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so glad to be with you today. Today is Monday, January 22nd, 2024. Happy New Year. This is my first video of 2024, so I'm very glad to finally be back with you. This is Flosstube number 22. So welcome back, people. I cannot tell you how glad I am 2024 is here. It's going to be a busy year, not just here on Flosstube, but in real life. So I'm just glad to continue to share my journey with you. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm so glad you found me, and I hope you see something. If any of these projects interest you, I hope it will encourage you to hit the subscribe button and come back and continue this journey with me through the rest of this year. To all my returning friends, thank you for coming back. It's so good to be back with you. I know I have a lot of new subscribers. So again, my name is Corinne. I live in St. Louis, Missouri. And well, for now, that's where we are for now. I am a mom and a wife. I have 2 kids. I have a daughter that's 17 and a senior in high school. And I have a 12-year-old son who is in the 6th grade. My husband and I have been married for 20 years. And we're just out here doing life together. So what do I have for you today? I'm going to jump right into it. Today, I was blessed with a snow day. More like an ice day, because it is icy. It's been very cold here. We had some sub-zero temps about a week ago, and they have returned this weekend, and then today I think is the last day, but woke up this morning and I had no school. So I said, you know what, I'm getting this WIP parade in. So that is what I have for you today. I have a snow day, WIP parade, and at the same time I'm going to update you on how I did on 12 by 12, New Year's Eve 12 by 12. So I'm just gonna jump right in, and I'll give a little bit of life update at the very end. So I have 19 WIPs, the most I've ever had in my life. And if you've been watching any of my videos, you know I have decided to kind of give myself a challenge. Since this is my 50th year, I wanted to give myself a challenge to celebrate my 50th birthday, which just passed. And so I'm going to do 24 new starts and 24 finishes in 2024. So I'm going to share how that's going so far, and I'm going to tell you some important thank yous and shout outs at the very end. So let's jump right in. I'm going to start off with my 2 oldest WIPs. How do I know these are my oldest WIPs? Because they are done on the stiffest 14 count Aida I have ever seen. Okay, and that was the standard back when I started stitching in the 80s. That's all we had. So that's how I know these are my 2 oldest. The first one, and what I'm going to do as I go through these, you all, if I have a before picture of where I was the last time you saw it, or if I have a picture where it was this time last year when I did my last WIP parade, I will show it. And then I'll kind of tell you my plans for that project for 2024. And then I'll also show you the project bag. If it is in a project bag, I will show you that as well. So this first one, again, sometime in the 80s, you all. So this is a good 30-year-old WIP, because I'm pretty sure I was doing this sometime in high school or college. But this is a Precious Moments. It's from the book Occupations, and I've done one other on this one. But this is the quilter, and you all, it's ridiculously done. Originally this was not on my list to show, because I was like, well, I don't really want to work on it. I'm going to finish this. Okay, the state that it's in, it's almost done. I have decided to do a skin tone change on it, so I did frog out the skin tone that I already had on it. But besides replacing the skin, all that's left is back stitching. So this is where I am. I'm definitely going to go ahead and finish this. And the other one that I did, it was a little waitress girl. I'm going to make sure that I finish this the same way. This is going to be finished in a project bag, I think, once I finish. So like I said, all I have to do is her face. I had it in there, but I'm going to put it back. And then her hand, I'm going to change the skin tone to a darker skin tone. And then as you can see, all I have left is back stitching. So I said to myself, come on girl, just get it done. So that is what I'm going to do. This is done in a 14 count Aida, and I think it's an ivory color, but I'm too far in. This is probably a good week's worth of work, and I can knock this out. So this is on my list for a finish in 2024. Okay. The next one is a Teresa Winsler. Again, it's so close. This is Sweetheart. Okay, this is one of 2 of her Dreamscape rocking horses that I am working on. And this one is in the home stretch as well. Now, this was on my New Year's Eve 12 by 12. And if you're unfamiliar with that, that is just a kind of a stitch along on New Year's Eve that you participate in, where you work on 12 projects between noon and midnight, or however you want to do it. Last year, I did 12 new starts and I did 12 WIPs. This year, I just did all WIPs because I knew I was going to be starting 24 things this year. I didn't need to be starting a whole bunch of stuff. So that is why I did. But this was on my list to work on for 12 by 12. And that is what I did. So here is my progress. I finished filling in. There was a little bit somewhere down here in the rocking horse part that needed to be filled in. And then I started back stitching. So I got some of the back stitching in. So this is also slated for a finish in 2024. On my WIP Go board, back stitching is a call for this month. So I will work on this a little more this month. Not a lot though, but I plan to get it in and do a little bit more work on this. But she's pretty, and this is Sweetheart by Teresa Winsler. But all the X's have been done. All that's left now is back stitching. So I'm going to finish that one too. Okay. Up next, I have, since this, I just did a Teresa Winsler, I said I'd go ahead and show my next Teresa Winsler. And the next one I have is Chestnut. Okay. This was a start for Christmas in 2022. This was my 2022 Christmas start. And it is being done on a 28 count ivory even weave that I got from Hobby Lobby. So I'll make sure I put a picture in where I was. I did touch this for 12 by 12, but did not get a lot done because you all, I have a mistake somewhere. I have a mistake somewhere in here. And so I ended up spending a little more time frogging and finding the mistake and getting it taken care of. So next time that I pick it up, I'm not fooling with the mistake. So that's what I did, mostly on New Year's Eve. That's all I really got around to doing. But I enjoy these. I have one other that I finished years ago, and I think I have at least 2 more. I have Misty. I've already done Trotter, and then I have these 2, and I may have one more. I think I might have one more. I just can't think of the name of it. I think I might have Diamond, if that's one of them. So I've always loved these charts. I've had them since the 80s. I remember getting them from Lee Ward's. I know I just took some of you all back to Lee Ward's, but that's where I got most of these charts from. So those are my first 3. All right, before I forget, Sweetheart and the Quilter are living in this project bag. This is a very early project bag that I made. Most of my project bags I do make. This was before I started adding the fusible fleece, so it's a bit flimsy. So not my favorite, but I'm still going to use it. So that is where those 2 are living. And then my Chestnut is in this wintry bag. So my next couple of projects are smalls, and they are both freebies, okay? And they are living in this ethnic bag. I believe I got this fabric from Joann's at one point. Some of my bags, I try to mark them with what's in it on these tags, but this bag tends to stay in my car. That way, if I forget a project to take with me, I have something to take with me. And I made sure it's not a vinyl front, because if you're not familiar with those vinyl front bags, sometimes if they are left in a hot car, your chart or whatever's in it can stick to that vinyl. So I always make sure I have a full fabric bag when I leave it in the car. But these next two projects are housed in that bag. And the first one is a freebie from Pinker Pumpkin. And that is a free website where she shares a lot of quilting designs and cross stitch designs. And this is the strawberry salt box. I've got my other one on here. It is being done on an 18 count white Aida, just a scrap I had in my stash. And I started this in April 2023. I was hoping I was going to finish it, but you all, this all over one color stitching for me tends to be a little tedious. I like to change colors. But I got through the whole front of the house, and I'll flash it real quick. This is what it looks like. So I still have quite a bit to do. I'm just trying to knock the house out first. So again, Pinker Pumpkin, she has a ton of salt box patterns that you can download for free, and they're either in black and white or full color. But they're just great little patterns, and my plan is to make a pillow out of this. So I am thinking about a finish for this year, definitely on the strawberry salt box. This other one is Luminous Fiber Arts, Misty Purcell, and this is Joy. And that's what it looks like when it's finished. And I believe hers was originally done on like a white or a cream with a red, and I chose to do mine on a black with a green. And the green that I'm using for this is Envy by Weeks That Works. But I had some trouble with this too. This was originally my work stitch. And it's a little bird that's should be familiar to some of you all that do her projects. It was a little bird right here, and I did the little bird first. And by the time I got down here to the J, and then this O, the bird was supposed to be sitting on top of the O. The bird wasn't sitting on top of the O by the time I got there. So I said, okay, I've made a mistake. I did not want to frog the J because that was a lot of work. So I chose to frog the little bird instead. And I think I fixed my mistake, but I am not going to make this my work stitch. This black makes it difficult for me to work on at work. By the time I'm seeing the holes, lunch is over. So I'm just going to work on this from time to time, maybe make it like a 25/7 or a 2 threads a day project until it's done, because it's monochromatic, just one color thread, so I should be able to get that done. So these are my 2 freebies that I am currently working on. Up next, I have a project that I'm not sure what my plans are for it this year. This is Mystic Stitch. I used to love Mystic Stitch. Mystic Stitch was the very first full coverage pattern that I ever did. And this is actually my second Mystic Stitch design that I've worked on. I started this sometime around 2006, 2007, because I believe I finished my first Mystic Stitch around 2005, 2006. But this is the Flower Peddler, and the artist is John McNaughton. And most of my Mystic Stitch designs were by him. Mystic Stitch is no longer in business. I believe they still have a Facebook page, though, that you can be a part of and share your stitching on. My pattern is actually being housed in a gift bag that I did as part of a strawberry swap last year. And my swap partner sent this to me. But this quilted project bag is really cute and it has strawberries on it. So I thought that was really cute. So this is my progress. I have worked on this. This was part of my 12 by 12 in 2022. I did not work on it for 12 by 12 this year, and I think the last time I worked on it was Mania in May. But this is where I am. And I'm mostly working on this awning that is above the window. I have finished one page and I'm actually coming up on a second page finish. I'll just quickly flash my, kind of see. So I only have that one bottom corner. This is the end of the page. So I'm thinking, if nothing else, maybe go for a page finish this year. And then that'll be it for this project. I have another full coverage that I'm more committed to. So I don't want to get too involved with this. This is being done on an 18 count Aida. And I kind of like working on 18 count Aida for full coverage. But this project isn't as big as my Heaven and Earth design. So I could not do a Heaven and Earth design on 18 count. That would be way too big. So again, this is the Flower Peddler by Mystic Stitch. This next design is actually a 2022 12 by 12 start. I have worked on it pretty regularly in 2023, although I did work on it again this year for 12 by 12 2023. Okay, but it was started in 2022. So this is Welcome. And I call it Welcome Pineapple because there's a pineapple down there at the bottom. And if you're not familiar, pineapple is a symbol of hospitality. So my plan is to, of course, put our last name there. And it's kind of hard to see, but if I kind of turn it in the light, you can kind of see that there is some white or some cream color stitching there. This is primarily all of this and the white, and then this design, ornate design around the pineapple. All of that is done in pearl cotton, number 5 pearl cotton. And then the pineapple is DMC and Mill Hill beads. So here is where I am. Like I said, I did work on this for 12 by 12 and I'm slowly working my way now through this pineapple. I also have a mistake somewhere in here. I'm not trying to find at this point. I'm just trying to make sure I can fudge it and it not be so noticeable in the end. But this is being done on a 28 count natural linen, which is the called for. One of the few linen projects that I have. I do not work on linen very often. This one has been a challenge, but I'm enjoying it and I'm definitely looking forward to the final product. So again, this is Welcome. Welcome is living in this floral project bag. So that's where Welcome is living. Up next, I have a start that was started on December 1st, 2023. I did do, or did include it in my 12 by 12 this year. And this is part of a stitch along, my first stitch along that I'm really working on. And that is 1 Dozen Quakers by Rosewood Manor. It is, I'm doing this as a part of the hashtag Bake Me a Quaker Sal that was started by EJ of the Sunshine Stitchers. So you can follow EJ on Instagram, or you can go to the Sunshine Stitchers Facebook page and find out more about the stitch along. It is definitely not too late to tune in and get started. EJ basically has divided this into 12 parts, and some of the lines overlap different areas. I have kind of chosen to approach it a little differently. I want to do at least one of the main motifs each month. These small motifs, like right here and right here, these are all done over one. I don't want to fool with that yet. So I'm just going to do each big motif at a time. And I'll insert a picture of where I was. And I've just kept this in the hoop. I will probably need to move the hoop next time I work on it. But this is where I am. The first big one is complete. I have done my own color conversion. I did purples, and the main one is a lot of purples, but I just wanted to do my own. I've shown it in a previous video. That border is starting to come together. That is actually Bouquet by Color and Cotton is the color I'm using for the border, and I will probably disperse it throughout because the border color is actually a lot of the colors that I'm using in my design, but I'm just kind of making it up as I go. It's mostly DMC with only a couple of fancy flosses, and this is living in this project bag. This is the only one that I have made like this, but I will definitely make more because I really like this style and I like this size. And you may see some of these like these in my Etsy shop in the future. But that is 1 Dozen Quakers by Rosewood Manor. All right, we are on number 9, which puts us about halfway through this WIP parade. I have actually a finish that I'm going to show you at the very end. And I also have 3 projects that I started since my last video. So those will be more towards the end of the WIP parade as well. So this next project, you all, I'm not sure what lies in store for it in 2024 either. That's why I wanted to go ahead and get this one out of the way. This is Delicate Beauties by Paula Vaughn. This was a start for 12 by 12 in 2022. I did work on it a little tiny bit for Mania in 2023, but I really have not touched it that much last year. So I'm probably, I won't say it's been delegated to timeout, but I'm probably not going to touch it very much. So let me just show you where I am. It still looks like it's a brand new start, even though it's been in the works for a year. This is being done on a 28 count antique white Jobelin, which is one of my favorite fabrics. But that's a little pitiful little start, you all. And if you are familiar with Paula Vaughn, you all know how intricate and detailed her patterns are, but they are usually a foldable pattern in a big piece, one big piece. So I'll just show you so you get the idea. And then here's the pattern in there. I had to make a working copy, which I did, but I still find it very difficult to work on. Lots of color changes and lots of back stitching. So I just don't think I'm in the right space for this type of project right now. This was, a couple hours of work, and I just feel like I just didn't make any headway. So this one's definitely on the back burner, but I don't know if I'm going to put it in timeout yet. That remains to be seen. But that is Delicate Beauties by Paula Vaughn. She was one of the designers that I cut my teeth on back in the 80s when I first started stitching. So I still like so many of her designs, and there's at least a handful of them that I still would like to do, but I don't think this is the one for me right now. So while I love it, it's got to go away on the back burner for a little while. It is living in this Disney princess bag. So I'm going to put that away, and we'll revisit that at another time. But this next one is slated for a finish in 2023. This is Hive Rules by Primrose Cottage Stitching. I have done a complete color conversion on it. It is being stitched on 32 count Bestitch Me's lightly salted, not roasted. It's a very pretty neutral. I started this on August 11th, which is World Cross Stitch Day. And I'll give you the stats for it now. It has 6,064 stitches, and I have done 3,445 of those stitches. And that puts me at 56.8%. And I am doing this on Pattern Keeper. And right now, you all, if it's on Pattern Keeper, I'm more likely to pick it up. Just because I don't have to find my place, and it's just a lot more convenient. To just open that document and find where I am. But this is Hive Rules. I love it. I did work on this for 12 by 12. I probably got to, I know I did this part right in here, and then I started this hive right in here, and I might have finished that bee. But this is the area that I worked on. And I'll make sure I have inserted a picture of what it's supposed to look like. Because again, this was a PDF, so I did not print out anything for it. But you can see I went away from some of the colors that they had, and I went more towards teals and aquas, and then honey color for the letters, and then like a slate gray. But I did a complete color version, and I will post it when I'm totally done with it. That way I know for sure it hasn't changed. And it is living in my Bougie Bee bag that I made last year. I love this fabric. I wish I could get more. I didn't even have enough to make any for, and that's just what the inside looks like. I didn't have enough to even make any for my Etsy shop. But I have a little bee charm on here, but this is one of my favorite bags, so I will probably always have a project in this bag. So that is Hive Rules by Primrose Cottage Stitching, and this is like the first project I've ever done by them, and I really like it. Up next is another favorite. I did work on it on 12 by 12. It's still in the hoop, so I don't even have to put it on a board. But this is Bengal Tiger. It is being done on a 28 count Lugana. It is wheat Lugana, and I got it from 1 to 3 Stitch. I will definitely insert a picture of what the finished product looks like, because the only one I have is in black and white. And I believe I got this from somebody. I got this so long ago. I know it was right after I graduated from college. And somebody shared this with me. I think it came from a magazine, but there's absolutely nothing on this that lets me know where it came from. I'm storing it in my Mizzou Tigers project bag. Again, this is one of my early project bags. No fusible fleece in there, but it serves its purpose still. And here's where I am for 12 by 12. I started to expand over into this area. You can kind of see where those empty spaces are. All of that got done that night. And I am not using Pattern Keeper or anything for this, but the chart is very easy to read, I feel like. And I love the lifelike ness of the face. You can definitely see the lower half of the face. So I'm looking forward to getting up here into the eyes and the rest of those stripes on the head. So I really love this project. This was a start for 12 by 12 in 2022. So I did do it again in 2023, and I will definitely pick this up and work on it more consistently in the spring. So I just love that project so much. This next project, I started it last year, sometime in the fall of 2022. Yes, 2022. I started it in the fall. It is my first Stitching with the Housewives project that I have worked on. I wanted to do it on black, and I believe this is a 20 count black Lugana that I'm doing it on, and I'm using the called for colors. Let me show you the design. But this is gingerbread cookies. I love gingerbread. Gingerbread represents Christmas so much to me. I think it's festive and cute. So I'm trying to make some things for decor for my home that include gingerbread. I did work on this for 12 by 12. You will see a little bit of progress. I had frogged out the G, and so I started stitching it again, and then I filled in some of this border here, and that's all I did for 12 by 12. This one's going to be slow going, A, because of the black, and B, because it's a lot of solid color stitching, and I'm still debating if I'm going to eliminate the row of houses at the bottom and just go with it at the top and maybe make a pillow. So I haven't decided, but this is something I would love to finish by Christmas. I don't care if it takes me the whole year. So I got to decide how I'm going to approach it and get it done. But this is something I would like to work on and make significant progress, if not finish it in 2024. So that is Gingerbread Cookies by Stitching with the Housewives. And that is living in this project bag at the moment with gingerbread, of course, on it. I've got a couple other Christmas projects in there that I have not started yet. And I have a ton of Stitching with the Housewives stuff I want to work on, but I'm determined that I need to finish or make significant headway on that one first. All right, this next one is still a beloved piece. I'm plotting my way through it. Let me just get a couple of these loaded up. This is Annie's Market. It is being stitched on a 32 count Rogue Lugana in Moonstone that I got from Needlework Galleria 2 years ago. And I really love it. It is from the Just Cross Stitch magazine, October 2004 issue. And I don't really use this. I just made a working copy of it. But I have completed the bottom row of the main house and the garage. I guess that's the garage. I've got a little bit of a tree trunk, and now I'm starting on the second floor of the actual market. And here is where I am. I did work on this during 12 by 12, and I did work on this quite a bit in November. But this is where I am. I'm enjoying it immensely. Just enough color changes, just enough blocks of color to make headway, and it is working out really well. So that is Annie's Market from Just Cross Stitch magazine. It is a very pretty chart. I do keep the majority of the flosses for it kitted up, so when the mood strikes, I could go ahead and just pick it up. It is one of the ones I really like to get back to. It is living in this fall theme bag. I just love those blue pumpkins. I just think those blue pumpkins are so pretty. So again, that is Annie's Market. The next one is one I'm definitely getting back to next month for Black History Month. This is Rosina Dissery, 1820. And if you're not familiar with this sampler, this is a young black girl that was going to school at the African Free School. And this chart comes with a lot of information, but this is a sampler from the collection of the New York Historical Society. All of the words are 1/1, And then there are some other sections that are 1/1 as well. I believe these two sections has a bit of 1/1. So it can be a little bit challenging, and I definitely have to be in the mood to work on it. I did put this on my WIP Go board, so I could dedicate some good time to it, and then I just plan to definitely work on it during February for Black History Month. I am stitching this on a 32 count Wexford by Silk Weaver, and the color is Lovely Lavender. It is a PDF. You can get Works by ABC on Etsy, and it is Lovely Lavender. It has 7,148 stitches. I have done 377. So I'm at 5.25%. So I got some work to do. And here's where I am. All of those letters, again, are 1/1. And I recently saw on Etsy, or actually it was on the Works by ABC, the designer for those, I saw a new design that she has by another young Black girl that she just released, and I'm so excited. I don't remember the name of it, but I will put it down below because I'm definitely going to get it and hopefully start on it sometime this year. But she does such a great job on the Works by ABC. She does have a website. You can go there, but she also is on Etsy, and you can buy either a paper chart or a PDF chart. And of course, I chose a PDF chart because I believe those are so much easier for me to work with. Here is the house she is living in. This is one of my Ankara African print bags. And I don't have any more of this one on the inside, but I was glad I had enough to line it with. So that's where Rosina Dissery is living, and I'm gonna make sure I get back to her. It's really not a lot of stitching. I mean, 7,000 stitches. When we get to one of the ones I have towards the end, you all will see that is not a lot of stitches for me. But because it's in a sampler format and it's spread out, it's more counting when you have that much space. To me, it's not a lot of counting when you do full coverage. Especially if you grid. But on these, it's more difficult and more time consuming for me to count because of the space, the amount of space. So that is Rosina Dissery. All right, we're in the home stretch. I've only got 5 more WIPs and my finish to share. So up next is my Fancy Lady, and this is Spirit Dancer. This is a Butternut Road pattern by Marilyn Levitt in blue. I believe Nikki Stitchy is working on this, and I've seen one other Flosstuber that had either was working on it or finished it as well. So she's kind of making a comeback. She's an oldie but goodie. But this is what Spirit Dancer looks like. I have been working on her. This is one of my 20-year WIPs, you all. I know I started her before I got married, and I've been married 20 years. So I have pulled her back out this year. I did stitch on her for 12 by 12 in 2022. I was supposed to stitch on her for 12 by 12 in 2023, but I did not. She was one of the ones that fell by the wayside that I did not get to. But I still enjoy her, and it's so funny, my mom asks me about her all the time because I think she was with me when I bought this pattern. But I have made pretty good progress this year, and I would love to finish her this year, but I'm not sure if that's going to be realistic. So I'm at least trying to get most of the background done, or even just make it to her face. I'm not quite to her face yet. But here's where I am, and I'm going to stay back a little bit so you can get the full effect. This is being done on a 28 count prairie green linen, and I despise this fabric with all my heart and soul. Okay, I don't like it. The holes are big. I had to move up to a 24 needle, tapestry needle, so it wouldn't fall back through the holes every time I punched a hole in it. But this year I finished the bird and I did all this background, and I did most of this sleeve. So that's what I've accomplished in 2023, and I just want to keep making my way this way to her face, and at least get to her face and maybe get that part done. But I consider her a fancy lady. This is my first fancy lady, and I really would love to finish her. I have her companion piece, Earth Dancer. I still want to do it, but it will not be on this fabric. I have some more of this fabric because when I saw this hanging on the wall in that Needleworks shop 20 plus years ago, I said, oh, I'm doing that. And then Earth Dancer was with it. I said, oh, I'm doing her too, because they had them hanging side by side. But I'm not doing this fabric anymore. I've grown, and I'm not afraid to deviate from the called for anymore. So this is what was called for, but it is not what Corinne will be doing from now on. I value my sanity too much. I'm plowing through on this because I want to get it done, and it was just too far. I admire those of you that can restart things. I cannot. So I'm going to finish it. I love how it looks, especially from this, backing up this angle. This is a very crinkly linen, so I just did a little press on it. I didn't do a hard press on it, but I hope you all are enjoying seeing it as much as I am doing it, because I cannot wait for this one to be done. But that is Spirit Dancer by Butternut Road, and the designer is Marilyn Levitt Emblem. So that is one of my big ones. I've got one more to share, but right now I think I'm going to go into my new starts that I did at the end since my last video. Okay, the first one is Reindeer by Cottage Garden Samplings. This is my first Cottage Garden design. This is a part of the Year in the Woods series. I only have the fox and the reindeer. And this was my Christmas start. I started this the day after Christmas. I am doing this on a 32 count. Picture This Plus Dawn linen. Yes, you heard that right, linen. There are some things or some colors that you just can't get the same richness unless you get it in a linen. And I'm coming to that conclusion, and I'm trying to make the adjustment. I have to have good light when I work on this. I am using the called for colors, and I have a big enough piece of this so I can do this and the fox on the same piece. But this is my start. I have not touched it, I don't think, since the first week of the year. But I have the face done and a lot of his antlers. But this is pretty easy stitching. I'm not stressed. It is a little more time consuming on linen for me because I do a lot of recounting because I want to make sure I haven't skipped threads. But I'm enjoying it so far. And this fabric, you all, this is just some fabric that I attached to the side so it would fit better in the Q-snap. And then I don't know if you can see this. This is a needle minder that I made from an old Mizzou button that I had. And I finally started using it as a needle minder. But again, this is the Reindeer by Cottage Garden Samplings. And I'm enjoying it. I'm very pleased with my fabric choice. And I'm looking forward to continuing on that. It is living, oh, I forgot to show you the other one. It is living in this cranberries and poinsettias bag that I made. And then Spirit Dancer, I forgot to show you that one. Spirit Dancer is living in this vintage bag. And this is one of my bigger vinyl bags. But that's where she's living, and there's Earth Dancer in there with her. I keep them together. And this has got all the beads and everything, the suede, everything that you need for those. So that is one of my new starts. My next new start is a Sue Hillis design. It is living in this Christmas bag. Favorite fabrics. And you all, for my project bags in my Etsy shop, a lot of them, I do them from my stash fabrics. So a lot of times I can't get those fabrics again. So this is a Hoop-de-Doo Peppermint Christmas. I knew as soon as I saw this, I said, oh, I got to get that. I believe it was Elizabeth Ann can stitch. She did it. And she did it in the hoop and everything. I don't know if I'm going to do that because I think my fabric choice is going to keep me from doing it in this size hoop. But as you can see, it looks simple, but that's a lot of color changes in there. And I am doing this on an 18 count blush Ada. And this is how far I've gotten. Do you all know how long it took me to do this little bow? Forever. I've been working on it at my son's tennis matches and everything, but good grief. It's taking me a while to get that bow done. And it's really going to be a challenge when I get to that tree, because I think that's like 3 or 4 different greens in that tree, but it's so pretty and so elegant, and I love pink for Christmas. So again, this is Peppermint Christmas by Sue Hillis Designs, and I have one other Sue Hillis I want to get to this year. So for now, this is my work stitch. I don't know if I'm going to keep it as a work stitch because of the high number of color changes, but I still like it very much. And then finally, for my last new start, it is being kept in this vintage baby fabric, vintage paper dolls fabric bag. And I'll just go quickly with that because that's the chart that's in there. But this is, I don't know where this pattern came from. Well, I know I got it from somebody years ago. I remember I was working at a public relations agency right out of college. And I used to get on those cross-stitch chat boards on the internet. And I know somebody sent these to me from that chat board. So that was probably almost 30 years ago, you all. But this is a logo for the Lipton iced tea. And I think I mentioned this in my last video. So I should have a picture that I can put in here of the logo and what the logo looks like. But, and I apologize, this is one zipper I did not keep open. But I want to show just a small part of this chart. Because the first time I worked on it, and this was my New Year's Day start. I've never done a New Year's Day start, but I wanted to. So I'm just going to show you the key for this chart. And you can see it says Lipton Tea. And if you didn't know, the gentleman that discovered or founded Lipton Tea his name was Lipton. But look at these symbols, you all. Why are they the same? There are, what, 5 different colors here and only 2 symbols. Come on, y'all. Why would you make the black and the dark gray the same symbol, and then the white and the yellow the same symbol? That makes no sense. So I definitely had to look up what the Lipton tea symbol looked like, the logo looked like, so I can make sure I got the placement right. Now, I'm sure there's some slight variation to the shading on these symbols, but why? Just get a whole new symbol. And I went through my other charts that this person had sent to me because they're all old-fashioned, vintage food containers, logos, designs, packaging. And I have Ghirardelli, Carnation, like the evaporated milk. I have Welch's, I have Smucker's, I have all of those. None of the other ones have a terrible symbol chart like this one does. So I keep a screenshot on my phone of the Lipton iced tea container so I can refer to it to make sure that my placement of those colors is correct. But I digress. I just had to get that off my chest. I even said to my husband, babe, look at this. And I know he's looking like, babe, I don't know nothing about what you're talking about, but he indulged me. He was like, yeah, that's crazy. So here's my start. I am doing this on a 14 count red Ada that I just pulled out of my stash because the background of the Lipton iced tea packaging is red. So I just did it in a red, and I am completely done with Mr. Lipton's face. So I just have the words at the top, and then I have to do his body, and then of course he's holding his little teacup, and then it says brisk and orange pekoe tea or whatever next to him. But doesn't he look good? I was kind of very pleased how it actually looks like him, and it looks so much like the container. So I'm gonna press forward with this. It's a fun stitch. And you know this came out my stash because I don't remember the last time I bought 14 count Ada, but I have a lot of colors. It's kind of stiff, but it's still decent and pretty easy to work with. So I'm looking forward to continuing with him. And my goal is to get a bunch of those different packages done for kind of like a little gallery wall somewhere in my kitchen or near the pantry or something like that. So I'm just getting a head start on those now. So that is the Lipton iced tea guy. That's what we're gonna call it. This is my last one, and I know many of you have been waiting patiently for me to get back to this one, and I finally have. This is Vintage Baker by Heaven and Earth Designs. Super excited that I'm finally back on track with this one. If this is your first time here, I started this project on Mother's Day in 2022, and I have been working on it steadily since, but I fell off in September. I had not touched this project since September 30th. And I did a couple of days at the end of December, and then in January, I got back on a roll with it, and I'm so glad. Let me give you the stats on this before I show it to you. This is being done on a 25 count antique white Lugana. It is a huge design. It measures 650 stitches by 464, and this is what it looks like. The designer is Heaven and Earth Designs, and Amy Stewart is the artist. I am currently at 45,780 stitches out of 301,600. So that is a whopping 15.18%. I ended last year, and you all, I'm glad I did these numbers because I kind of see it really did hurt me to fall off on this one. I did 19,911 stitches on this project last year, and that was the full year. The year before, when I started it in May, I did 24,000 and some change that year. So I was a whole 5,000 stitches less than I was in 2022, and I worked on it only half the year. So those 3 months I did not work on it really hurt my totals. So this year I've got to stay the course. My goal is to do a page finish like it was last year. I was nowhere near the page finish, and you'll see why in a minute. But so far in January, I have done 1,083 stitches in addition to working on other stuff. So I'm very proud that I'm back on track. I'm using my new floor stand. It's working out really well because I can just leave it on there. The only thing left to do now is I need a roller frame, and I'm going to get one of those very soon. I went to Color and Cotton a couple of weeks ago, and she did not have the size that I need. So I'm gonna see if she gets one in, and if not, I will order one from somewhere, because I think the roller frame is a little lighter than the Q-snap that I'm currently using, and I think that'll fit better in the floor stand that I'm using. So without further ado, she's living in this custom made bag. And if you can see, it's got vintage kitchen stuff on it, very similar to the design. And I made it to fit the 11 by 17 Q-snap. So hopefully the roller frame that I get will fit it as well. But here is where she is. I'm gonna have to stay back here so y'all can see. But I'm very pleased. This is where I was working. Oh, let me get my chopstick. And if you notice, I'm gonna shift a little bit. If you notice, the face of that motif is now out there. I've been really in this area over the last month. I think I've stitched like 9 days on this month. And then this red part, all of this is coming into view. This is where the page comes to. I think it's on here. Actually, it's out here. See that line on the other side of my binder clip? That is where the end of the row is. So I still got a ways to go. I only take it out of the Q-snap to take a picture of it once a month and for my videos. That's the only time I take it out. So while it's out today, I'm going to take a picture of it because I did not take a January 1st picture like I normally do. So I have to do that. And then I'll move the Q-snap a little bit. And then I'm going to grid a little bit more before I put it back in the Q-snap, because the gridding is really what keeps me on track. I know some people like the Easy Grid fabric. I'm not a fan of that. So I like to grid it on my own. And it only takes me 30 minutes to do it. I do 30 minutes, so it goes a pretty long way. And then I don't have to do it again for at least another month, because it's going to take me that long to advance to where the gridding has stopped. But gridding is a lifesaver on a heaven and earth design. I admire those people that can do a project of this magnitude without some grid lines, whether it be on Easy Grid or they make it themselves. But this project is coming along. I don't know if you saw my little needle minder. I made that one too. My husband took some buttons. That's another button that he took to work and had the back grinded off, but it's a little flower pot. And I always keep a snag nabbit on that design, just in case I get some threads that don't go all the way through like they should. But I'm very, very pleased. We're back on track and ready to move forward with Vintage Baker. And again, my plan for that one is I really want to finish this row. I don't know if you could see it on the design, but up next I've got a few things that have more solid stitching, like the egg. The egg is what's next, right in there. So that's going to be quite a bit of solid stitching. That's probably that dreaded 950 and 951 back. So those are my projects, my WIPs. I have one finish. I finished this on December 23rd, so right before Christmas, and that is sweater weather. And I enjoyed this. It is going to be a pillow. I feel like this sleeve is not the right length, but guess what? I'm not gonna worry about it. I did change a few colors around. I used the called for, and then I just rearranged a couple of the colors. Like the actual words sweater weather was not supposed to be in that color, but I like that color better. So very, very pleased. This is by October House. This is done on a 28 count mushroom Lugana, and with the called for fancy flosses. Very pleased. And very glad to finally have that done. That was another 2022 12 by 12 project. So I think that is all of my WIPs. I am excited about what's to come in 2024. Let me just share with you a couple of other stats. How I keep track of my projects, you all. I just have a notebook. And in this notebook, I keep track of my cross stitch WIPs, and I keep track of my project bag inventory on Etsy. So here's my 2024 WIP list so far, and there's my 19. So I will be adding another minimum of 23 WIPs to this list. So that's why I made sure I had a couple pages available to add those WIPs. But my goal is to take just as many off of the list. My personal half a hundred challenge that I'm doing for my 50th birthday, 25 starts and 25 finishes. And that can be FFOs or just finishing stitching. So I've got a lot of candidates for both categories. So there's no reason I cannot get as much done as I start. So last year for 2023, I had 14 new starts and I had 11 finishes. So I'm super happy with that percentage. If I can do something similar the same way this year, I will be totally okay with that. So that is my WIP parade and a few of the stats from last year. So I worked on a total of 23 projects last year, and I'm definitely going to work on more than that this year. So I'm just trying to plan how I'm going to attack it. But I am to the point, you all, where I stitch or create something every day. If I'm not stitching, I probably worked on some project bags earlier in the day. So I'm very glad about that. The other thing that I'm working on is WIP Go. And here's my WIP Go board. The ones that I have surrounded in pink have been called. So my oldest WIP, and I already showed you all my oldest WIPs, so I'm definitely going to work on those. And then back stitching. So my oldest WIPs will fall into the same category as back stitching. So I'm going to work on those. And for me to fulfill a box, I have to work on something for 5 days. So you can just kind of see some categories. Mostly they are project specific. Like most of the WIPs that I just showed you are on here some way, shape, or form. And then I did change this one the other day. I'm going to change this to a kid's choice. So I'm going to ask my kids what project they want me to work on. And my son will probably be the one that gives me the input on that. But here's my key. And I'm probably going to try not to print one very often. I'm going to use a highlighter to highlight it when it's finished and just go from there. But I've got like the series that I'm working on. One of them, it says work on a 2024 new start, since I'm going to be starting at least 25 of those. 2 threads on every WIP. So for right now, that will be 19 things. So WIP Go, if you're not familiar with this, go to Jessie Marie Does Stuff. And she has all the info on this on her page and on the WIP Go 2024 Facebook page. So if you're interested in those, head on over there. Shout outs and thank yous. You all, my year got kicked off in a major way. I have to thank Pam and Steph for Just Keep Stitching. If you are not familiar with their channel, I don't know what to tell you. But they are some of the queens of cross stitch on YouTube. And hopefully you have checked them out in the past. But they have a segment of a silver and a gold stitcher. And the silver stitcher is somebody that is fairly new to Flosstube, a newer stitcher, a newer tuber. And the golden one is somebody that has been doing it for a while. They've been in the trenches for a while. And on the December 31st episode, they featured me as the silver stitcher. So I cannot thank them enough. And it was so wild, you all, because I was sitting right over here working on my 12 by 12. And I only got to 9 things on my 12 by 12. I forgot to mention that. But I was working on my 12 by 12 and my phone, I kept getting all these alerts on my phone, and it was for my Etsy shop. And I was like, who's doing all this on New Year's Eve? You know, I was just, you know, it just seemed odd because, you know, between Christmas and New Year's, it's an expected lull for that. People have been shopping like crazy for the last 2 months. And I had 2 sales on Etsy back to back, like 9:15 and 9:20. 2 different people, different parts of the country. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And I always get notifications when people have favorited my shop or favorited an item, and my phone was blowing up. And I was like, what is going on? And I kept stitching, but every few minutes I was looking at my phone because it kept buzzing. And then finally I said, something's going on. And I was watching EJ's WIP parade on the Sunshine Stitchers. And I was like, when I get done with this, I'm going to go look at my YouTube channel. And so I went and looked at my YouTube channel, and I had a whole bunch of new subscribers. And I was like, okay, something is going on. I have missed something. Something has happened. And then a few minutes later, I got a notification on my phone that Pam and Steph had mentioned me in their video. I said, okay, that's what happened. Because I mean, my phone just kept buzzing. And my watch kept beeping, and I was like, it was the craziest thing. So ladies, I can't thank you enough. And to those of you that have come to my channel because of them, thank you for sticking around. I have lots planned in 2024, but I just wanted to make sure I shouted out those ladies. They do so much for the cross stitch community, keeping everybody together. They putting people together in groups in different cities. So if you don't have stitchy friends in your town, if you comment on their videos, they will find you a stitchy friend. So they're very involved with StitchCon. So they just do a lot for the cross stitch community. And I'm just forever grateful and thankful and blessed that they chose to cite my work on their channel and talk about my channel. So I appreciate you all. Be blessed this year, ladies. A couple other people I wanted to mention that I really enjoyed. I know I'm a little behind on my Flosstube viewing because you all know this is WIP season, so there's a lot out there to watch. But a few that I wanted to mention was Shari Stitches. If you want to find her on YouTube, you have to look for Shari Moss. But she just started her channel. Very prolific stitcher and beautiful finishing. I really enjoyed her projects. So check her out. She is new. I think she's only got maybe 2 videos up, one by herself, and the other one I just saw the other day that I need to watch is her and her sister. So Shari's Stitches. And look for Shari Moss as her YouTube name. Narissa's Stitching Lifestyle. This lady knows she can stitch, okay? If you are interested in Christmas, because that's what I was primarily watching at the time when I came across hers, her episode 14 and 15, she takes you on a tour of all her Christmas stuff around her house, and then in 15, she takes you on her cross stitch ornament tree. My Lord. Okay, she got some ornaments, y'all. Beautiful stitching. So Narissa's Stitching Lifestyle. If you like Christmas, definitely go check those 2 episodes out. But she has many more episodes. I believe she's been doing Flosstube for about a year, but she was great. Beautiful stitching. Globe-trotting stitcher. She's one of my favorites, Amy. And I just especially love that she has her husband stitching, y'all, Gary. And Gary does wonders with her videos. He got her tech. He's got side by side. He's got her talking, showing it's just beautiful. I think he's a video person in real life. That's his occupation. But I just love them. They kind of go back and forth. He participates in the videos with her. He is a stitcher. I love that Captain America, and he's doing a Louis Armstrong picture. I just like his choice of projects. And she has such a calm spirit, and she just finished a Mirabilia at the Mint, and she did a skin tone conversion on it, and it was beautifully done, beautiful fabric. So if you are not watching the Globe-trotting Stitcher, please go check them out. They've been doing this for a while, but they have some very beautiful projects. Who else have I been watching? I'm just going to go through these really quick. Cow Stitcher. I also discovered her over break. And I think she's been floss tubing for a little while, but she had taken a hiatus. and she has great finishing as well. I'll just throw these out because you all know these people. Made by Michelle McGraw. She had a 3-part WIP parade, you all. I think I'm on part 2. Check that out. The 2 Tall Stitchers, I loved what they did because they don't have a lot of WIPs, but they did a finish parade, and it was a lot. Jen does a lot of finishing, and I don't know if you all are familiar with her and Penny's daughter Shares. They did the finish, not a stitch along, finish challenge last year, and they're continuing it this year. So if I remember, I'll put it down below what the hashtag for that is. But I'm determined I'm gonna do some more with that this year. And then Lala D Stitches, love her. She does a lot of quilting as well. So if you're into that, check out Lala D Stitches. I think that's it, you all. I appreciate you all coming back to watch me again. Please like and subscribe so you can be on this path with me in 2024 and see what I actually accomplish in the stitching journey. Thank you to those of you that have been to my Etsy shop. I am going to have some new styles. Matter of fact, I have one sitting here. I'm going to be incorporating Valentine bags are up, but this style of bag is one that you will see more often on in my Etsy shop. So, but this is a Valentine one. So Valentine bags are up. I do a lot of ethnic prints. I do seasonal prints, florals, and novelty. Those are the main things that I have for my project bag. So thank you so much for your patronage in the last year, and I look forward to giving you all some pretty things to get in 2024. Let me just make sure I haven't forgotten anything. Next video, I am going to show all of my finishes from 2023. Like I said, I finished 11 things last year. So I am going to show those and hopefully share my plans for finishing them, fully finishing them. Okay. I can't think of anything else. So I'm going to get on this video editing since, again, I'm on a snow day. So I'll have a chance to jump on some of the editing this evening. I will be back with you. I'm going to try you all for 3 weeks. I'm going to try for that this year. That's one of my goals, is to come before you every 3 weeks. My daughter's in the downhill slope of her senior year, so that's keeping me busy, but I'm making sure I stitch daily. So with that being said, I hope you all are off to a blessed and productive and peaceful 2024 so far. Hope the weather's holding in your area, and if not, snuggle in and stitch. I will be back before you sometime in February. Thank you so much again, and as always, be blessed.